keep it alive through these lines I write. I keep it live cause I thrive. I might just blow your mind tonight. I'm so hyped, but it's no hype. From this height, it's direct hits on sight. I'm your type, lend me your ears to show you that there's something in me. I'm not giving up, I'm standing right here, holding these days hostage. And I'll make this my year. We turning fear into love, and the love's in the air. I love doing this cause nothing compares. Nothing can share that same type of feeling when you feeling them flares. They can't catch it, it's havoc. I rip to a tear, switch the scenario. My stereos, I leave them impaired. Variables start to change and they're all in my range. I just gotta grab it, it's all mathematics. Every step is drastic, I make it fantastic. I'm trying to take your breath away. Asthmatic.
This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo. This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo.
Yeah, just nod your head with it, so explicit and vivid. Every image is intricate, intimate. I put my all into it, no scrimmage and no rules. I'm a pro tool, hear my heartbeat, beat into the vocals. I'm so loco, lost my mind, oh no. It's ponderoso, dope, so no overdose, cause it's dope, yo. Man, this is house grown, mixed with some milestones. So I let the style flow down like the Dow Jones, bringing it with some foul tones, letting the crowd know we getting loud, so it's eardrum rudiments. Yeah, we bring it rude again. Move, little hooligan. Music for tuning in, full time to the 10. I'm on my clock like I told you. I'm doing this for dreams we pursue.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Anti-Media Radio. Once again with your host Nick Bernabe here on UCY.TV. Thank you all for tuning in, and we're glad to be back with you. Monday we had our awesome guest co-host Terry Wedler. She's also a journalist with us here at the Anti-Media and editor, and that was a great show. We had a couple bumps in the road with our internet connection for some reason on Monday, but if you want to go back and listen to the show from Monday, you can on YouTube, UCY TV, or you should be able to find it there on UCY.TV, the website you're listening to the show on right now. We've got a bunch of interesting topics to go into tonight. We're actually hoping to have a actual presidential candidate, albeit, no one really expects this guy to win, but he hasn't shown up yet. He's supposed to be here and come join us in the studio.
We'll see. Out politicking on the street.
We'll see if he ends up walking in the door here mid-show, but we also have some other awesome guests that are going to be calling in and some other topics that we're going to cover. I have Jake Anderson with me here in the studio tonight. What's up, Jake?
Not much is up. I'm sitting here doing the show with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, we have some interesting topics to go into today. And first, I want to start off with some kind of, I guess you can call it good news. I mean, it's bad that this is happening, but it's good that like certain people are talking about it.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about is the U.S. prison system, man. And why is it that we have 5% of the population and 25% of the prisoners for the world?
Good question. I don't think we have an answer to that. I think you're referring specifically to an article I wrote this week. It's on the antimedia.org. It's entitled, "Obama Admits U.S. Has the Biggest Prison Population in the World," which, I mean, if you know anything about the prison industrial complex, you know that it's almost I don't know, it's not something that really needs to be admitted. It's something that needs to be reformed. And so when we look at this, when we look at Obama, okay, so Obama recently became the first sitting president to visit a federal prison. Yay!
It's about time. You know what? A lot of people were hoping that he would never leave.
DB, what? DB, are you there?
I think DB's joining us now. We were trying to connect with you earlier, but my co-host DB's on the line. How you doing tonight, DB?
Good, man. Good to be back here up further north, out of the Midwest. My apologies to Claire for living in Ohio.
Oh, well, what?
So are you in Ohio right now or what?
No, man. I'm back home in good old Minnesota, and I could tell you it's a different world.
Well, we look forward to seeing you back here in your like true home, which is San Diego.
DB, I've actually always wanted. I know this. I mean, I've always actually wanted to visit Minnesota. Can I come see you sometime?
Yeah, man. I don't know if you're a football fan, but September 27th, the Chargers will be here. I'm trying to get everybody I know to come out.
Well, we'll see. I actually want to come when it's really cold. I know that sounds weird, but I love cold weather.
That'll be December, January. It'll be real cold.
That sounds about right. All right.
Anyway, your article, man, it was awesome, and I think we should touch on how many damn rape kits aren't even tested yet. It's all part of this corrupt system.
Yeah, it's super corrupt. I mean, it's called the prison industrial complex. Anytime the word complex is used, it seems to connote a larger than life evil. But Obama, so he went and he went to the federal prison and he commuted the sentences of 46 nonviolent drug offenders. But let's get realistic here and note the fact that the Koch brothers want to reform the prison system as well. So, how much of this is rhetoric, and how much of this is someone actually wanting to reform the system?
He pardoned 43 people, right?
46, I believe. But,
okay, and
he did not pardon them. Actually, he commuted their sentences. He did not pardon them. Look, he had some great quotes. I think probably the best quote from it is. Let me find. He had a great list of statistics. The 5%. And all that. I think the quote that struck me is, if you're a low-level drug dealer or you violate your parole, you owe some debt to society. You have to be held accountable and make amends. But you don't owe 20 years. You don't owe a life sentence. Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is that the big elephant in the room here with the whole prison system and everything going on, mass incarceration, whatever you want to call it. The big elephant in the room is the drug war, right? It all boils back down to the war on drugs, and this is why we're locking up a bunch of nonviolent people that are, most of them are either people that have addiction, which is a health issue, or they're people that are entrepreneurs that are trying to make money because they're broke and they're selling drugs because they're trying to feed themselves and their family or whatever.
Absolutely, and you wrote a sweet article about
that. Yeah, man, and so you got this huge drug war, sitting in the room, and Obama really has done nothing but really trim around the edges.
He's done nothing.
He's done nothing but trim around the edges on the drug war, and he doesn't. I mean, yeah, he commuted 40-something people's sentences, but dude, there's probably 400,000 people in jail for marijuana crimes, dude. I mean, yeah.
If he was really serious, that's what he would have done. And look, I want to make 2 quick points, and first, I think an article by The Atlantic, I think, sums this issue up in a very compelling way. And this piece with The Atlantic says, the prison industrial complex is not a conspiracy guiding the nation's criminal justice policy behind closed doors. It is a confluence of special interests that have given prison construction in the United States a seemingly unstoppable momentum. It is composed of politicians, both liberal and conservative, who have used the fear of crime to gain votes. Impoverished rural areas where prisons have become a cornerstone of economic development. Private companies that regard the roughly $35 billion spent each year on corrections not as a burden on the American taxpayers, but as a lucrative market. And government officials whose fiefdoms have expanded along with the inmate population. Now that nails it. And it shows how this country's almost economy is tied up in this prison industrial complex. And so my challenge to Obama is, if he's serious about this, as he's shuffling off the White House lawn to leave, you're not going to pass legislation, so get over that. There's not going to be any legislation passed through this Congress. You need to do an executive order, Mr. President. You need to do an executive order, and you need to do something larger than just symbolic. You need to dismantle the prison industrial complex.
Yeah, man, and that's why I see what Obama did there with, coming out, and he said some things that were really true about the prison population. He commuted the sentences, and it's all good. It's like, all right, awesome. Like we're finally starting to get it. But then what it actually boils down to, what he actually did by commuting 43 sentences, really it's just a slap in the face, dude. It's there's so many more people that are suffering because of the drug war and because of nonviolent crime and things like that. So I mean, it really is. All it is symbolic. It's kind of like it really is kind of insulting in a way, to me at least.
Well, think about all these people. Think about all the people in prison for the same thing that are sitting there like, well, what about me? And why shouldn't they be asking them? It's sickening. It's sickening that people are spending their life in prison for a non-violent drug offense. It's just ridiculous. He should commute all the sentences. Why would he not do that? I don't get it.
Yeah, man. So we have joining us on the call right now, we have one of our friends and journalists on the anti-media, John Vibes. Hey, John, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, man?
Oh, we're doing well. Just hanging out here in the studio, me and Jake, and we have DB on the line. We're hoping to have our other friend, which is running for president. Actually, he's not here yet. We're hoping he's going to walk in the door any minute now, but we'll see what happens. But regardless of that, you've written plenty about the prison industrial complex, the war on drugs. And we're just finishing up on that topic, but maybe there's something that you can add to it that we haven't really covered yet, because it's such a huge problem. I mean, the war on drugs is one of the biggest bureaucracies that actually oppress a huge amount of people, and especially working class and poorer people. Is there anything you want to just throw out there about what's going on with the drug war?
Well, I'm not exactly sure where the conversation was, but I can definitely say a couple things. And first off, since the dawn of time, these tyrants that have used various excuses to control people, whether it be monarchy or democracy or whatever, they have came up with these arbitrary things that kind of a lot of people tend to do, that they can persecute these people for, that puts them in a better position, that puts them in a more higher moral ground, and it allows them to fleece and extort a large portion of the population. And in our era, it's the drug war. In other eras, it was, you believed in a different religion, or, you were a different social class, or you were a different race, or they would always come up with these arbitrary reasons to oppress people. And today, drug use is just one of those reasons. And, regardless of the substance, that's a lot of the things that these cops are after. And I mean, I experience it as somebody who looks like a stereotypical drug user. Cops are always after me to try to fill their quotas. So I entirely, understand what you guys are saying as far as that goes. And I think that when it comes to law, if you're not hurting somebody, you're not violating anybody's property, you're not taking anything from anybody, then you're not really doing anything wrong. And anything else, there's somebody trying to control you there, and there's somebody benefiting from your disadvantage when you're thrown in a cage, or you're fined, or whatever, or your property is taken during a raid. There's somebody else who's benefiting, and their benefit is exactly why the laws are in place. It isn't some moral stuff that, they use as a selling point. So that's really all that I would have to say on that.
Exactly, man. I mean, you make a great point there. It's one thing to say, okay, well, yeah, they do it because it's unhealthy for people, and yeah, we don't want people using drugs and stuff. But then you sit there and you if you consume that, and that makes sense, then it's like, okay, well, at the same time, let us slap you in the face with cigarettes and alcohol
and Red Bull.
What I mean? And
we drink a lot of Red Bull.
Before they had the war on drugs, man, they had prohibition. You know what I mean? And it's like they realized that idea has failed. We don't want prohibition anymore on alcohol, but let's go ahead and try it out on all this other stuff instead. And it's just like, dude, you guys tried it plenty of times in the past. Let's not do that anymore.
Now, the emperor wears no clothes. Everyone gets it. We understand. It's. Do we have a leader? Will we ever have a leader that will actually try to change something? The last guy that tried to change a major complex was JFK, and look what happened to him. You know.
Now Obama.
Can I add something in there real quick, if you guys don't mind? Can I provide a quick answer to that, at least from my perspective?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I would say the only time that a leader is ever going to save us from these problems is when he admits that the whole system and even his position in that system is totally either at very least obsolete and probably a farce. As long as these politicians continue to say that I can be the guy to save this, I don't believe in that. But if they actually say that this system is a problem and we need to dismantle it, that's probably when I can start to get behind a guy. And that's where I'm coming from.
That's sort of what JFK did, though, in his speech about secret societies. I mean, he doesn't say, I mean, I don't think you can reasonably expect a president to say, I'm an idiot, you know, like, screw me, God, what an asshole I am. But he basically said the system is messed up. And that... I tend to agree that he was one of probably the better ones, and that's why he probably got assassinated. I apologize. You sound like you may have more to say there. Oh, no.
So, you know, the thing is like, Obama, man, we got to understand that how much of the presidency has become so much of just a symbolic role, and we're going to get into that in a few minutes, too, with John and his article he wrote today, but, like, it's so symbolic. I mean, is Obama going to sit there and with the stroke of a pen end the drug war? No, but the fact that he should. These sound bites are now out there, and we reported on these sound bites that Obama is, claiming that, yeah, we do have a problem when we have 5% of the population, 25% of the prisoners. Those sound bites can go a long way. While his presidency is just, a symbolic thing, mostly. We can use those sound bites later on to, like, if anything, that message that he put out there today convinces more people, okay, look, we really do have to address the war on drugs. One politician won't fix it, of course, but as the population in general shifts away from this idea of the war on drugs, which, it is. Like, look at the vote. Like, look at the amount of cannabis that's legalized now around the country. Yeah. And not just cannabis. California actually defelonized almost all personal drug use or drug possession. So, I mean, their steps are being made, but the reason why these steps are being made is because the people are shifting in that direction. These politicians aren't coming in years before their time and saying, like, 10 years ago, they're not coming in, we need to end the drug war, we need to legalize marijuana. Like, that was very rare back in those days. But now that everyone's, like, come around to those ideas, now all of a sudden all these politicians are like, yeah, let's just go ahead and legalize it and stuff, so.
What about this possibly also leading to the Brave New World scenario where they're going to keep us under control with so-called drugs that are legalized for us?
It's already happening.
I mean, that's already going on, man, because, they got all these opiates and all these SSRIs and all these.
Look, some people need drugs. Okay, let's not. We don't need to cast aspersions.
Yeah, we don't want to say like
drug.
Exactly, but
I mean, I don't know. I need them for sure.
Yeah,
I definitely need a plant that you set on fire, but I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
But
that's not a drug.
Look, people.
Well, there are some other ones that I kind of like as well.
We're on a spinning rock and we're all gonna die. Like it's not exactly a world in which it's easy to be unmedicated. But the fact of the matter is, people shouldn't be spending their lives in prison because of a particular drug they choose to take.
Yeah, that and also we can't deny the fact that the legal doctors are over-prescribing the shit out of like opiates and things like that. Yeah, not to downplay the people, like I think the point you're trying to make is that like we don't want to degrade the people that have to take these medicines. Of course they're needed for some people, but these doctors are just jamming them down people's throats that don't necessarily need them. One of my friends included, he got hooked on an opiate, then after they took him off of it, then he gets hooked on heroin. Then he ends up in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I know personally people who are dead now because of that same situation, and it's so common that we all probably know a handful of people that have went down a bad route because of that scenario.
Exactly, man. So we're getting
opiate addiction.
Myself, that's gone down that route. So like I have personal experience with it, and I know how easy it is to manipulate these doctors to get what you want.
It's kind of the perfect corporate government marriage, right? It's like, look, we make the drugs, we get the people hooked on them, and then once we pull them off them, then they're breaking the law, and then you guys can arrest them, and you guys can cage them, and you can make all the money from jailing these people. Yeah. I mean, it's almost like these things go hand in hand. And I know for sure, if you look at the money that funds the drug war, the lobby money that comes in, to keep a lot of these people in prisons, dude, they come from the guys that make the money from keeping people in prison. The pharmaceutical industry, the alcohol industry, the private prison industry, the prison labor unions. I mean, these guys are all funding this stuff to make sure that there's a bunch of people locked up. And it's kind of like we're getting hit on both sides here with this drug war thing.
They got us by the balls.
So that's something to keep in mind. The drug war is always something, until it's completely ended, it's something that everybody should be fighting against in one way or another, whether it's through civil disobedience, by using them yourself, and hopefully cannabis is your method of choice. Or if you do it by, activism, protesting,
Speaking of which,
gathering, like shit, here in California, they gathered enough signatures to defelonize all drug possession, and it worked. It worked. They went on the ballot, and the people voted for it, and it worked.
That's incredibly impressive. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, man. And like, I'm personally, I'm not a person to vote, but I actually was like, I'm not going to vote for any candidate, but I thought about voting for Prop 47 which, here in California. I didn't end up voting, but it almost got me to vote. But that kind of brings us right into this next topic. And John wrote this piece today, and I think it's completely brilliant. I mean, people loved it, people hated it, people were confused. I think it was a great piece of work. But the article you wrote today was titled "Why Donald Trump is the Greatest Presidential Candidate Ever." And
John,
anyone that listens,
my heart stopped for a second when I saw that headline.
Anybody that listens to the show knows that we're not focusing on Donald Trump, but we are definitely we've done takedowns of all of his talking points, his anti-immigration stances, and we've done multiple takedowns of that because it's a very harmful way of thinking, especially in a nation full of immigrants. I mean,
he's a bigot.
Well, I disagree with all of that, just to be clear, too.
You don't
Exactly.
think Donald Trump is a bigot?
And so,
Oh, I see.
yeah, he agrees with us on that.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, we've been harping against everything this guy stands for. Like, we don't give him any serious credit. But this article today, it's basically like why we support Donald Trump, and I think you bring up a really important angle here. And me and DB have talked about this. We've touched on it a few times here and there. I know me and Jake have touched on it as well. But really, the article is about how a candidate that's such a joke, and like I first of all, I want to broaden it out a little bit outside of just Trump, because I think you could throw Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush into this umbrella.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
We're talking about if Hillary Clinton,
Trump takes the crown for sure, but without a doubt.
I would say Hillary is. I think she's got more. I think she's more intellectually honest than Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I would agree. That's why Trump's the better guy.
But John, just a quick little sidebar. And I came in and I asked Nick. I said Nick we were talking about the article, and he asked me if I'd read it. I goes, no, I hadn't read it yet, but this is.
sentiments. Yeah, we bring it rude again. Move, little hooligan. Music for tuning in. Full time to the 10. I'm on my clock like I told you. I'm doing this for dreams we pursuing. But call it a reality, cause there's no illusion.
This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo. This is live through the stereo. Go and let it blow, blow through the stereo. I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo, stereo.